Here we go again. Dave Smith, stop talking about Israel, bro. I can't do this to my mental state. Anyways, we're gonna start with a nice little tidbits. That's the proper term. From was yesterday's funeral of Ben Shapiro video. I reacted to a different video for the first like 10 minutes or so. Everything else is just like Ben Shapiro is a hypocrite, which for the most part I agree. But at this part, I actually I found kind of funny because of Dave's, like, it's only fine because it's Dave Smith saying it. And I heard him say it multiple times. But yeah.
Way against the wishes of five-star General Dwight D. Eisenhower, who didn't want us to drop the nukes, thought it would be horrifically inhumane and completely unnecessary, and that Japan was willing to negotiate a surrender anyway. That's just a five-star general, though. I mean, what does he know? Next up, Ben Shapiro.
Is that an appeal to authority, Dave Smith? Are you appealing to authority in your argument right now? Man. You learned from Douglas Murray, I guess. Anyways, I've been waiting to watch this. I don't know if I can get through the whole hour if it's repeating points. I hate that there are no timestamps to know what the topics are. If it's just the same topic for an hour, I'll just get my point across and give it a rest. But yeah, let's start.
Why is it, by the way, that this is always a one-way street? Iran said this, Iran threatened this. This is about a regime change war. Why are we doing this? Yes.
You're not doing shit, though. The US is not doing anything.
I think it's quite clear that Benjamin Netanyahu wants regime change in Iran, but that is not the same as the regime in Iran wanting to destroy Israel.
What was overthrowing Muammar Gaddafi?
I don't like that argument overall. We'll get into it. It's like, oh, who's the more evil guy kind of argument here, right? Because in my opinion, Israel's the good guy in this scenario, not the lesser evil.
Was that simply replacing the leader, or was that destroying the country?
Let's stick to Israel and Iran.
No.
The Israeli.
It's like, let's bring up Iraq for like no reason, but okay. Because again, Iraq was a forced regime change, whereas like the people of Iraq did not want a regime change. The US wanted to force a regime change. The people of Iran do want a regime change, 70% of them, if not more. And Israel is helping them, not forcing it. They're just killing the leaders, but they're not telling them to do anything. They're asking them, it's like, this is your chance. If you want to take it, take it. But they're not out there in their streets creating camps and telling them, it's like, you guys need, like, forcing a regime change. Okay, there's a big difference here. So that's why, like, using the Iraq thing is weird. Also, you're right. He's right. Yes, Iraq was a forced war based on a lie, probably due to oil from like the conspiracies. So
They say we want regime change. The Iranians say we want to wipe you off the map.
Do you guys think Benjamin Netanyahu has been mistaken for 30 years, claiming that Iran is a year to 3 years away from a nuke? Or was he lying?
Israel was
both.
surrounded by many, many countries who don't believe that it has a right to exist.
So I'm the moral relativist.
Yes.
And when I point out what one side actually did, you run away from it. Are you an Israeli? Why are you constantly running cover for them?
Because I believe in speaking the
like
truth and being honest instead of
you're
dragging
not
in stuff
speaking
that is
the truth,
irrelevant.
dude.
So the American government is so gullible that they just go around invading countries on the say-so of Israel.
This isn't a secret. He's advocating that we fight more wars. And I'm telling you that this war, which we do not need to fight, which is not in our interest, has the potential to be devastating.
You don't know. First of all, you don't know if it's in or not in your interest. Like, the thing is with Dave Smith, you might have more a better chance at guessing if changing the regime in Iran is in the benefit or the detriment of the US if you ask somebody like a 5-year-old with Down syndrome. You will get either the same quality answer or maybe even better. That is the level of understanding of Dave Smith. His level of understanding is, I don't want to be at war. I don't want my kids to go to war. I don't want to be somebody who would be at war. I don't want the US to be at war. Meanwhile, the reason the US is at the top of the world is because it chose its battles correctly. Not in the last 50 years, given that, but the way it got to the point of where it is because it joined battles when it needed to join them. Okay? Not because it stayed away from wars, but because it joined wars when it was beneficial to join wars, because nobody's attacking the US. Okay? Well, Japan did, but based on him, RFK knew that they're going to do it, so whatever. Right? But they pick and choose their battles. That's why the US is on top. If attacking Iran when it's super weak and Israel did like 95% of the work and the US is like, fuck it, we'll take the spoils from like minimal participation, that's a good move for the US. 100%.
Nothing divides opinion more than
99%, maybe not 100%.
war, and wars are often both launched and ended on the strength of popular support or opposition. When the stakes are so high and the consequences are so significant, everybody gets a say. In my view, that applies even if you haven't been to the place where it's happening. Much of the debate about the Iran crisis and others seems to boil down to some big themes: morality versus reality, idealism or pragmatism, intervention versus isolation, populists or lobbyists. For a big picture debate on a world at war, I'm joined by two of our favourite uncensored contributors who often trade respectful barbs on these matters and more. Konstantin Kisin is an author, satirist, and co-host of Trigonometry. Dave Smith is a libertarian commentator, a comedian, and the host of Part of the Problem. Well, welcome to both of you. Dave, great to have you back so soon. As you know, after your last appearance,
Sorry, and an idiot
I got
on the
chewed up and
subject.
spat.
Oh my god, why did the pause not work? An idiot on the subject who thinks he has moral superiority by not understanding anything about the subject. No military knowledge, no knowledge of the geography, no knowledge of the fucking politics, no knowledge of the diplomacy, no knowledge of any resources in the area. All he thinks about is like, oh, we don't want to go to war because war is bad.
Across cyberspace, which I found quite an amusing thing to watch go down. What did you make of it?
Oh, I thought it was just so pathetic.
Yeah.
I mean, I had mentioned this before, but if you, as I'm sure you do recall, but after my friend Daryl Cooper was on Tucker Carlson's show and he made some comments that you objected to, and I was defending him and giving my point of view on it, you had me on a panel. It's probably the most contentious that me and you have been on the show. You had me on 3-on-1 with it was Seth Dillon and then a world-renowned historian from the House of Lords, like the leading expert.
He actually
on
is,
World
Andrew
War II.
Roberts, yeah.
Yeah, and I took my lumps. I tried to make my argument.
Did you get to speak? If you got to speak, you didn't get the same treatment. They're talking about the lawyer that was here supposedly debating Dave Smith, which didn't get a word out. That's why I'm assuming why he's smirk, like having like a little smirk, because everybody who saw it knows that you didn't let her talk at all. Finish a point.
Argument as compelling as I could. It was like, I didn't go online and just throw a bitch fest for the next week over how unfair it was. It's just pathetic. And I'm sorry, but Natasha was just lying through her teeth the whole time. As
she need to get a point across to lie through her teeth, first of all.
And lies that, as you pointed out, insult the intelligence of the host and the viewers. And I thought you were absolutely right to give her pushback for that. So it was, I thought, number one, I thought
at least he's going to admit that he's biased. So.
You were right on the show. Obviously, admittedly, I'm a little bit biased on the topic, but I thought the reaction online was just truly embarrassing.
You know what was interesting? If they'd actually just said to me, you know what, Piers, did you go a little bit too far in the interrupting? Could you have reined back 10, 20%? I probably would have said yes, probably.
50%, let her finish a sentence at least.
I conceded that to some friends of mine. Yeah, probably slightly overdid. My mother's always a good litmus test. She was like, you did go at her a bit. I was like, okay. But then I was reminded that she was telling massive whoppers with real consequential elements to them, denying, appalling things like the
Yeah, like every guest that you had that is pro-Palestine has been doing, and you never gave them as much pushback. Are you fucking kidding me? What a... so slimy.
Killing of the 9 out of 10 children in that one airstrike and so on, or at least trying to cast doubt over whether it had been proven, which I just found so reprehensible.
It's reprehensible that, as a lawyer, she wants proof that it was actually the case and not another case of propaganda, as we have seen multiple times by Hamas' side. And, again, she said that there were, arguments both ways. That there were, like, proof from both ways. So she's like, I'm not going to say they died because I don't know. And right now, there's no definitive proof in one way or the other because there's proof in both ways. Oh, how dare you? How dare you not believe a mother saying that she just treated her 9 dead sons in the hospital? Why the fuck is a doctor treating 9? First of all, she's in the hospital. She's a doctor. Why is she treating dead patients? Second of all, if they're her children, she's actually not supposed to be near them because she's compromised, okay? So, just by default, from a logical standpoint, this makes no sense, this whole argument, okay? Like, just from a logical standpoint. Now you can be like, oh, well, there's like not enough doctors, whatever. I'm sure there's like at least one more doctor that could have taken this case pro bono, okay?
But also, I just felt this is somebody who purports to be an international barrister in this area, who's clearly not
a lawyer.
Has got a horse in the race, right? Because it's
lawyer.
Lawyers for Israel, who she represents. If you can't handle a bit of interrupting from someone like me,
it's not a bit of interrupting. You didn't let her speak, and every time she tried, you're like, "Yeah, it's my show. It's my show. Excuse me, it's my show."
You're probably in the wrong profession, is what I thought.
She's a lawyer. Usually, you let a person make a statement first before you would disprove it. So technically, she's in the right profession. You, as a journalist, are in the wrong profession if you don't let the person you're interviewing speak.
It's like it's supposed to be part of your job, literally arguing with people, often in an animated way. Anyway, let's get into this argument.
Yeah, let's get into like the meat and potatoes, I guess. Yeah.